Your brain was never designed to be idle, and when you force it to do nothing, it will find something, anything, to escape, even pain. This is brain roots.
In 2014, researchers at the University of Virginia ran a simple experiment. They put people in a plain, empty room. No phone, no book, no music, nothing on the walls, just a chair and their own thoughts. They were asked to sit quietly for somewhere between 6 and 15 minutes. That was it. Just sit there. Most people hated it. In one version of the experiment, participants were given the option to give themselves a mild electric shock if they wanted something to do. Most people had already said before entering the room that they would pay money to avoid receiving that shock, but when left alone with nothing but silence, a significant number of them shocked themselves anyway, some more than once. They chose pain over nothing. The researchers concluded that the human mind does not like to be idle. It finds the absence of stimulation aversive, not just boring, but genuinely uncomfortable. And it will seek almost anything to break out of that state. This is not a weakness. It is not a modern problem. It is a very old feature of the way the human brain was built. Here is why. The brain is not a passive organ. It does not wait for input and then respond. It is constantly predicting, simulating, planning, and scanning. Even when you are doing nothing, your brain is doing a great deal. When external stimulation drops, when the world goes quiet and nothing demands your attention, the brain does not simply rest. It defaults into a network called the default mode network. This is the system that activates when you are not focused on an external task. It is associated with mind-wandering, self-referential thought, imagining the future, replaying the past, and thinking about other people. In small doses, default mode activity is useful. It is where a lot of creative thinking happens. It is where you process emotions and consolidate memory. But for many people and for most of human history, unconstrained default mode activity is also where anxiety lives. When the brain is left without external anchors, it tends to drift toward unresolved problems, things you have not figured out, conflicts you have not settled, fears you have been too busy to look at directly. The quiet does not create those thoughts. It just removes the noise that was keeping them at a distance. This is part of why silence is so uncomfortable. It is not really silence. It is the sound of your own mind doing the work it has been putting off. But there is another layer to this. The discomfort of stillness is not just about unwanted thoughts. It is also about what the brain evolved to do. For almost all of human history, stillness was dangerous. An environment that had gone quiet could mean a predator nearby. Sitting completely still with nothing to do was not a state our ancestors could afford for long. The brain that stayed alert, that kept scanning, that felt restless when there was nothing to focus on, that brain kept its owner alive. Restlessness was adaptive. The urge to move, to check, to find something to engage with was not a distraction. It was a survival mechanism. And that mechanism is still running in you, in a world where the predators are gone, but the restlessness remains. What has changed is the environment. Modern life is built around continuous stimulation. The phone, the feed, the notifications, the noise. We have constructed a world that is perfectly designed to feed the brain's hunger for input, so perfectly that we almost never let it go unsatisfied, which means that when stimulation disappears, when you are in a waiting room, in a quiet car, lying in bed without anything to scroll through, the contrast hits harder than it used to. The brain is not just restless. It has become accustomed to a level of input that it now treats as the baseline. And anything below that baseline feels like deprivation. This is why people who try to meditate for the first time are often surprised by how loud their own mind is. The thoughts were always there. The phone was just louder. And this is why silence, genuine silence, takes practice for most people. Not because silence is difficult, because the brain has to relearn that stillness is not a threat, that an unoccupied moment is not an emergency, that the mind running loose is not something to escape. It is something to observe. The discomfort you feel when you try to do nothing is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is the sound of a very old system doing exactly what it was built to do. You are not broken. You are just running ancient software in a world that no longer matches it.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Brain Roots. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.